after I kind of had that shift, I really started to feel like I was recovering. Maybe I should make choices so my body feels better. I don't want to have all of this, not drama. Maybe I should call it drama, honestly. It's like at this point, I'm like, girl, you were so dramatic. Like, calm down. It is so hard to overcome these things. I can't give it all of this attention because that's when it starts to grow and feed and fester and turn into almost this tumor that's taking over your life. Hey everyone, my name is Mars, like the planet, and this is Housewarming. Today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be kind of talking more about my eating disorder, having a binge eating disorder, and just how I'm doing today, right now in 2024. So if you have not heard my story before, I will definitely link the videos down below. But I developed a binge eating disorder after trying to lose weight using the intermittent fasting technique, just because of the copious amount of foods I was eating in this eating window. This restriction, this having only a certain amount of time to eat, really kind of rewired my brain. It really rewired the way that I think about food, the way that I want to eat food, the way that I feel guilty about eating. It kind of just changed my brain chemistry, honestly, and I developed an eating disorder. And after doing some research, intermittent fasting does work for some people, but it is really easy to develop an eating disorder or a binge eating disorder when doing intermittent fasting. I will say that in my journey in recovering from an eating disorder, I also am kind of recovering from having anxiety, social anxiety, depression, delusions, suicidal ideation, all of those things. I was on Lexapro for 1.5 years, trying to help with those things. So I kind of had a lot going on at one time. The only reason I do mention being on Lexapro is that Lexapro did not cure my eating disorder. I do not think that Lexapro really helped with my eating disorder at all, but it did help alleviate some of the symptoms. So for example, Lexapro did help with my social anxiety. My social anxiety was preventing me from going to the gym or going out and exercising or having those tough conversations because I was dealing with, just a lot of trauma and anxiety and depression at that time. So Lexapro kind of alleviated the symptoms that kind of helped me deal with my eating disorder a lot better. So like I said, Lexapro did not help my eating disorder, but Lexapro kind of helped my anxiety, and not having anxiety, not having social anxiety definitely helped me kind of have the clear mind space to then deal with my eating disorder. So I recently posted a video about going 1 year without binging. So I definitely will say that I'm very proud of myself. I deserve a little pat on the back for that, but I have not binged in over 1 year. And a binge is basically consuming a copious amount of food to the point where you were hurting, where you're engorging yourself and then feeling guilty after. I will say that a binge is definitely different from overeating. A binge is more of that extreme side of things, and it has been 1 year and I'm just really proud of myself. I will say that I am still on that slippery slope of going back into binging. So I would definitely say that right now I'm in recovery. I think at this point I'm about 75% recovered. I will say that my day-to-day does not revolve around thinking about binging, about thinking about food, about thinking about an eating disorder. My day is really filled with other things that kind of make me happy. And so I kind of just want to share, with you guys what I'm doing in hopes that that will help you. I am just trying to share my story here on YouTube in hopes that it helps someone else out there that's struggling so they do not feel like they're alone. So I just want to kind of have like a candid conversation with you guys. I just want to talk to you guys freely, kind of. I don't really have a script or anything that I really want to get to, but I do have some things that I just want to talk about. So first of all, I am really just proud of myself for kind of not binging anymore. But I kind of feel as though I've put in a lot of work and I am just in a season of recovery and making sure that I am happy at the end of the day. The first thing that I really had to identify with having a binge eating disorder was my triggers. Now, everyone is going to have different types of triggers. It could be a smell, it could be a place, it could be something that someone says to you, it could be a piece of clothing, it could be anything can cause a trigger for trauma that you may have had in the past or trauma that you're still recovering from. So I really had to sit down and identify what is triggering me to start binging, what is going to trigger me to start that cycle all over again. So I kind of identified 3 different triggers. The first one was going to the gym. Now, I will say that I go to the gym 3 times a week, but it is just to move my body. I am not going to work out or lose weight or, reach a goal or build muscle or do anything or burn a set amount of calories. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to the gym simply because I like going someplace after work. I like having a third space to go. I like having, to be around people, to be in my community, and I like moving my body. And that is basically the only reason. I definitely am on a slippery slope when it comes to the gym. I think that you can definitely see all these videos on YouTube that are of people at the gym just sweating and grinding. You got to do 6,000 push-ups and you got to push yourself and work. And it's like, I cannot do that. I really cannot do that. I have to just say, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to have a good time. Whether I stay 20 minutes or an hour, it doesn't matter because it's okay. And I really think that I had to kind of shift my mindset at the gym. Going to the gym triggers me because I will go to the gym and then I'll come home and say I've lost weight. Then I'll say like, oh wow, yeah, going to the gym really helps me lose weight. And then it'll start to trigger me wanting to eat more because I'm like, oh, I've lost weight. I deserve to treat myself. I deserve to reward myself. I'm going to eat some more. And then I'll gain the weight back. And then I'll be like, oh, well, let me just go back to the gym. And then I have this negative relationship with the gym. I have this negative connotation that going to the gym means losing weight. Going to the gym means I gotta push myself. Those times where you may eat a copious amount of food, you may eat a ton of food, and then they say, oh, it's fine, just go burn it off at the gym the next day. That is so unhealthy to have that mindset that the gym is a place where you go for shame. A gym is a place where you go to burn off the guilt of the things that you ate the day before or the week before. I really don't like having that mindset when it comes to moving my body. So for me, I really had to kind of hone in on why I was going to the gym, and it is just to move my body. I am almost 30 years old and I don't want to have, creaky knees. I don't want to have a hurt back. If I need to walk somewhere, I want to make sure that I'm not winded. I want to feel good in my body. I want to make sure that I feel like I can move and I'm not just like aching and walking and out of breath, even going up a set of stairs. I want to make sure that I feel good in my body and I want to make sure that I feel happy. I'm not going to the gym to lose weight. I'm not going to the gym to build muscle. If I happen to build muscle, that's great. If I want to go in the gym for 20 minutes and then leave, that's perfectly fine. If I want to stay longer, that's good too. But I'm not going to push myself because it really does trigger negative effects and a negative mindset about the gym. I'm really not going to push myself. If I go in and all I got is 20 minutes to walk and watch my videos, then all I got is 20 minutes to walk. If I feel like lifting some weights, then I'll lift some weights, but I'm not doing it to get ripped and build muscle or to try to burn off that piece of cheesecake that I had the day before. That is not the mindset that I have at all. I tend to go to Planet Fitness. And like I said, at Planet Fitness, it's a little give or take, but there are people from all walks of life that are older, younger, bigger, smaller. There are all different types of people there. The gym that I go to is very diverse. I'm not going to go to a gym where people are yelling and hollering and throwing plates on the floor and doing that. That is not the environment that I want to be a part of. So the second trigger that I kind of identify for myself is excess food. I work a typical 9 to 5 in an office, and I will say the second there is cake in the break room, donuts in the break room, any type of extra food in the break room that I know is free, I cannot pass up the opportunity for free food. If someone says like, hey, I'm not going to finish this, do you want it? Anytime there is extra food on the table, anytime there is extra food around, I'm the first person in line that wants to eat it. I'm the first person in line that is like, oh, I'll take 3. And I have to really be careful with that just because once again, that can really trigger overeating. It can trigger a binge. So I just have to be careful and say no. I think it's okay to say no. You do not have to eat everything that you see. Just because there is cake in the break room does not mean you have to have cake in the break room. I definitely am the person that is, oh yeah, I'll take one. I'll take a slice. And then I'll go back and be like, oh, I'll take another slice. And I will continue to eat and eat at the office because either I'm not doing anything or I'm slacking off. And I just feel like, oh yeah, I can definitely, and what I'm doing obviously is triggering another binge because I'm eating instead of 2 donuts like a typical person might in one sitting, I'm eating 4, 5, and 6 donuts because I'm like, oh, no one else has touched these. I think I might grab another one. And that is definitely something I have had to learn to avoid. That is just my happy place. Being in the break room is my happy place. And I definitely had to kind of learn to say no. I had to kind of say like, am I really hungry? And that was the thing. It wasn't a restriction. It was more of like, are you hungry? You're not hungry? Okay, then you don't need to eat 17 donuts. I have to remember that even if I do end up eating more than I should, that it's okay. I have to remember to have grace with myself and not punish myself. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to hell. I'm not the worst person in the world. No one's going to mock me or laugh at me or anything like that. I have to remember to remove that guilt after eating something that is bad. I have to remember to remove that guilt of feeling awful because I ate more than I should. So number 1 is the gym. Number 2 is food in the break room. And number 3 is going out to eat with friends. Now, I will say that I don't know where you're from, but I am from Louisiana and we love to eat. We love a good cookout. We love food. We love fried food. We love seafood. We love all the most unhealthy foods you can think of. That is what Louisiana is. And I love living here. I love the food here. It's just so good. But you have to understand that we are eating all the time, whether it is a Tuesday, whether it is after work, whether it's Christmas, the holidays, a birthday, an anniversary, you're sad, you're mad, we're going out to eat. Someone is cooking something. And I do think that a lot of times you don't want to be that awkward person that's like, oh, I'm really not hungry, or oh, I really don't want to eat that right now. Or, oh yeah, I'm just going to eat something small. You really don't want to seem awkward. You really don't want to kind of seem like something's wrong with you. And it's kind of hard sometimes to just kind of say like, hey guys, like I would love to come with you out to eat, but like I'm just gonna get something small. I'm really not that hungry right now. I'm just coming to hang out with you guys. And I really do struggle with that. I could be so full. If someone were to ask me to go out to eat right now, I'm going. Like I just am. I love going out to eat. I love being with my friends. And unfortunately, I do struggle with saying no. I do struggle with not eating when I should be. And that is just my third trigger that I have identified. And it does take some time to identify what your specific triggers are. But I do think that kind of noticing them sooner than later can really help you in your recovery, whether it's writing them down or just noticing them for later. I kind of think of them as like a trigger is like an allergic reaction. I mean, it's a reaction, honestly, but it's like an allergic reaction. So if you're allergic to nuts, let's go with the metaphor. But if you're allergic to nuts, you're going to make sure, okay, is this fried in peanut oil? Does this have nuts in it? Does this dessert have nuts on top? Because I don't want to trigger an allergic reaction. So you have to kind of think of triggers the same way. It's like, I don't want to have an allergic reaction. I don't want to binge. So what are things that I can do to prevent this allergic reaction, this trigger? What are things I can do to prevent that? So now that I kind of identify what my 3 triggers are, I can then move accordingly to make sure that I'm not triggering myself. So these are just kind of some things that I have been doing right now to kind of get myself out of that mindset. I think I really, in this recovery journey, have been trying to focus less on I am recovering from an eating disorder, I'm recovering from binge eating, and more, I just want to enjoy my life. I just want to live my life. So going back to the exercising. So I have found that I really need to, once again, practice grace with myself. And it's okay if I don't want to go to the gym every single day. It's okay if I don't, spend 2 hours at the gym and I'm doing legs and back and cardio and all of that stuff like that. And I'm doing every single move perfectly correctly. If I'm moving my body and I'm having a good time and I'm watching my little videos and I'm listening to music, then that's perfectly fine. I think that progress over perfection is the best method that I have heard of, and that kind of makes sense to me, is that it's okay to do 50%. At least you're doing 50. It's okay to do 75%. And it's even okay to do 1%. If all you can do is just, walk around and then be done, then that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go to the gym. They're not going to crucify you if you don't go to the gym. So with that mindset in hand, I definitely started to figure out ways that I could move my body instead of going to the gym. So I definitely started to garden more. I have a garden. So if I'm standing and lifting and pulling weeds, I can definitely feel it the next day. So I have started to garden to move my body. I definitely walk my dog a lot more. I'll even walk him around the neighborhood, or I will take him to the park and walk. And it's like, whether we walk for 15 minutes or an hour, at least I've moved my body. And at least I'm not dreading, there are some people that just hate going to the gym and just force themselves to go just because. And with all of this, I am not trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to be skinny. I'm not trying to be bigger. I'm just trying to be happy. I'm just trying to move my body like I should and just be happy in my body. I don't want to just be lazy and lay around all day. And once again, That's okay if you have to. Some days you just don't feel like it, but I want to make sure that I'm good in my body. I want to make sure my knees are not falling apart, my back's not hurting, and I'm not winded just going up a flight of stairs. So like I said, I definitely get out in my garden. I try to clean, moving, vacuum and stuff like that, dusting. All of those things are just, forms of movement that kind of get stuff done around the house. I also walk my dog, like I mentioned. And then the last thing is that I ended up finding our Wii. Remember the Wii? Yes, the Wii from like 2008. I ended up finding our old Wii and I got all of the games from my mom. And so I've been playing Just Dance. I've been playing Wii Sports. And it's just been the funnest like trip down memory lane. Do you guys remember Michael Jackson, The Experience? Y'all, like, it has just been a trip down memory lane and it is fun. It is fun to be in my living room and dancing to Thriller. It is fun to be in my living room and dancing to Bruno Mars. And like, I don't even think like, oh, I'm working out. I don't even think, oh, I'm burning calories or, oh, I'm burning carbs. I'm not even thinking that. I'm just having a good time. And that is just a new way that I found that like, yeah, I can move my body and have fun and just have a good time. And I can sweat and just feel good. And I'm not out of breath and I'm just having fun. I'm just happy. And that is kind of the mindset I've just really been in with movement. I remember watching a video and they, instead of called it exercising, they called it joyful movement. And that's kind of the mindset that I'm in right now. I want to be happy when I'm moving my body. I don't want to be stressed out and sweating and upset and frustrated and saying, okay, I just have to do 6 more. Okay, I just have to, run a mile to burn off those Oreos I ate yesterday. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be unhappy when I'm at the gym. If I'm paying to go to the gym, I definitely don't want to be unhappy there. I don't want to dread having to exercise. And I'm definitely not going to be like, oh, I need to burn a certain amount of calories. I'm not worried about that. It's like, I have really done the work. I have really put in a lot of hard work and I really just want to be happy in my body. The next thing that I'm doing is, in this period of joyful movement is kind of being open and honest with my friends about what I'm going through. I have had to have not tough conversations, but it's quite awkward to say like, yeah, I have an eating disorder. Yeah, I have a binge eating disorder. Yes, I'm struggling right now. So maybe right now is not a good time for me to go out to eat, or like, yeah, I'll go out to eat, but like, I'll just take my food to go. Sometimes it is a little awkward to have those conversations because people don't want to admit it, whether it's a binge eating disorder or it's being an alcoholic or struggling with substance abuse. Sometimes you have to just say like, yeah, guys, I'm struggling. Like, please don't forget that I do have a addiction. Please don't forget that I have an addiction to food or alcohol or drugs or whatever. So please don't put me in these situations where I may be triggered. And I think if people are your friends or they're your family, then they'll understand and they definitely should be understanding. And if they're not, then like, that's a bigger conversation. But I do think, especially sometimes in the South, in the Black community, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They're just like, oh, just eat. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. They just eat a lot. They're just big boned. They're just big. And it's like, people don't want to acknowledge and say like, no, they probably have an eating disorder. No, they probably are binge eating. No, they're probably overeating. No, they're probably, have an unhealthy relationship with food. And I've had to kind of give people that vocabulary sometimes. And they've been like, you're right. I think I have a binge eating disorder. I think I may have a very unhealthy relationship with food. And some people just don't see it. So I really had to like be an advocate for myself and kind of tell other people my story, try to tell other people what I'm going through. And sometimes that does help them have a little bit of reflection about their own relationship with food, or like I said, alcohol or drugs or whatever. Addiction can be anything, but that has definitely been some conversations that I've been almost excited to have, because I think introducing people to kind of a new world, new language, new vocabulary is just really important to kind of grow and not be, the same person you maybe were 5 years ago, 10 years ago in high school. I'm almost 30. So it's like, I need to really have those mature conversations. I am in a season of not having restrictions. I really have to be honest with myself when it comes to restricting. I can't restrict. I just can't. And I don't want to beat myself up over it, but I can't have restrictions right now in my life. I'm not going to be that person that's like counting calories or counting carbs or weighing my food. I know there are people that enjoy that type of discipline. I know there are people that are vegan or vegetarian or follow a certain lifestyle or only eat certain foods. I can't. If I want it, then I'm going to eat it. Obviously, I'm not going to enjoy in excess, but I had to kind of just shift away from the idea that things are good and things are bad. There are no good foods and there are no bad foods. Obviously, there are foods that may be better for you, like broccoli and carrots versus a cheesecake and Oreos, but one is not inherently good or bad if you eat them. So I am not going to make myself feel guilt and shame and bad if I want Oreos. I'm just not. I'm really not. And I'm not in that season to feel bad for eating cheesecake. If I want a hamburger, I'm going to eat a hamburger. I don't know. It's like I'm just not in the season to really beat myself up over food. I have to nourish my body. And it's like, I obviously am an adult and I can realize that broccoli is probably better than eating a cheesecake all day. I can probably understand that there are healthier options and more maybe high in fat, high in carb, high in sugar options. But am I going to feel guilty if I do eat some of those things? No. Am I going to feel bad about those things? No. I just can understand and say, yeah, I've been drinking a lot of soda recently. Maybe I should drink some water. And that can just be that. I don't need to say, I'm a terrible person because I drank soda. I'm an awful person. I'm this, I'm that. I'm fat because I drank soda. That is not what I'm doing at all. I can definitely recognize, hey, maybe I have been eating a little unhealthy. Maybe I am feeling a little sluggish. Maybe I'm not feeling the best in my body. Maybe I do need to kind of adjust my diet a little bit to maybe eat something that's a little bit more rich in fiber so I'm not falling asleep at work. Maybe it's not the best thing to eat an entire, sleeve of Oreos before I go work out because now I feel awful. Like I physically feel bad. And it's like, yeah, I feel like as an adult, you have to learn how to make those changes and kind of recognize what foods are making your body feel bad and not mentally make you feel bad. I think those are kind of the two different things. I'm not going to feel mentally bad when I'm eating foods that are maybe high in sugar or high in fat or high in calories. It's like, I don't care. Honestly, I have to kind of not care because I'm not going to restrict myself. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I can't have that. Why? I'm grown. I'm 30. Like, why can't I? Because what? Something bad gonna happen? Nothing bad is gonna happen if I eat bad foods. Nothing bad is gonna happen to me. And I had to kind of shift my mindset around that because for the longest time, I honestly thought I was a terrible person. I was fat, I was ugly, I was all of these things. I felt so guilty for eating chips and crackers and all of those things. I truly felt bad. And now I have to kind of shift my mindset and say, it's just food. It's okay, girl. It's just food. It's just food. Calm down. It's okay. So I really had to kind of, like I said, decide on moving from a mindset of these foods are bad and I should feel shame and I should restrict myself from eating them to maybe I should make choices so my body feels better. Maybe I should make choices so I'm not sluggish at work. Maybe I should make choices because maybe sometimes I do want donuts for breakfast and that's okay and nothing's going to happen to me. So I had to, like I said, stop restricting myself. Last night, it was 11 o'clock at night and I was starving and I wasn't going to say, oh, it's after a certain time and I can't eat because I'm going to gain weight. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm okay. Like if I'm hungry, then I'm going to eat. If I'm hungry, why would I go to bed hungry? If I'm hungry, why would I not nourish my body? If I'm hungry, why would I still continue to be hungry? And I feel like before I would start to say, oh, I'm hungry. That means I'm losing weight somehow. I don't know why. Oh, I'm hungry. I should binge. I should just go overboard. And I used to have all these negative associations and negative mindsets about feeling hunger, about feeling full, about feeling all of these things that were perfectly normal, that were perfectly okay to feel. And so that is kind of the mindset that I'm in, is that like, I have bigger things to worry about. I have more things in my life I need to worry about than if I'm eating a snack at 11 o'clock at night. I have bigger things to worry about than if I'm eating 5 Oreos. That's just what it is. After I kind of had that shift, I really started to feel like I was recovering. I think that my life has been less about the food and the binge and the recovery and I have an eating disorder. And that's my whole personality to, I'm just me. I'm just living my life. I'm just in recovery. Yeah. If someone wants to talk about it, sure. But like, I have to live my life. I have bigger things to worry about. I have family, I have a job. I have things I love to do. I have more things to worry about than this eating disorder. This eating disorder is not me. It's a part of me. It's something that I am struggling with, that I'm dealing with, but it's not me. It's not my whole personality. I really think the last thing that I've kind of shifted, and really started to love again in this season of my life is cooking. I used to be so afraid of food. Like I said, everything was either good food or bad food. And now I started to love to cook again. I've learned to cook the meals that I grew up eating as a child because they're quite nostalgic for me. I've learned to cook red beans and white beans. I've learned to cook soups. I've learned to cook wings. I've just been loving being in the kitchen again and realizing that food is not scary. And I don't have to think about the calories and the carbs and the sugars and all of that. It's like, if I want to eat, then I'm going to eat. I want to be able to enjoy and almost like not romanticize, but I want to be able to enjoy, getting in my car and having the privilege to go to Walmart and buy all the ingredients I need and then coming back and making a wonderful meal for myself. What, that is so wonderful that I am able to do that I am able to afford foods to buy and then bring them home and cook and make a meal. Like, there's so many people who don't even have the privilege of doing that. And I have just loved going on TikTok and finding a recipe and making it and eating it. And I have just loved not being like, my whole life is just going to be eating boiled chicken and broccoli and rice. I don't want that to be my life. I want to be excited about foods again and not have this mindset that food is just bad and shameful and guilty and just the worst thing in the world and you should be afraid of it and be careful and all of these things. It's like, I don't want to have all this red tape around food. I want to love food again and just kind of see it for what it is. It's just food. It is food. You eat it. It nourishes your body and then you're good. I don't want to have all of this, not drama. Maybe I should call it drama. Honestly, it's like at this point, I'm like, girl, you were so dramatic. Calm down. And it's like, that's kind of I had to kind of tell myself that, that's just the mindset that I'm in right now. I'm really not trying to focus on losing weight and being better and really honing in and really trying to be my best self and all of these self-help books that I've been, seeing, or all of these, podcasts, Lord, the podcasts, but all of these things that are trying to be tough on your body and working out and having this regimen and hard 75 and soft 75, all these things. It's I don't have time for that. It's my life is so much more than this. And once I learned that, I felt like my recovery just really took off. Once I realized I'm so much better and bigger and more wonderful than this little thing. It's so small. Don't give it all of this energy. And I think that's where I'm at right now. I can't give food and binging and this addiction and this anxiety and all of this stuff. I can't give it all of this attention because that's when it starts to grow and feed and fester and turn into almost this tumor that's taking over your life. And like I said, I know this is easier said than done. I know this has been years in the making. This has been years of therapy and medication and anxiety and breakdowns and crying and binges. This has been years of looking at the ugliest parts of myself and feeling fat and disgusting and ugly and big and huge and none of my clothes fit. This has been years of that. And finally, I feel like I am coming out on the other side. Finally, I'm I can do this. I can conquer this. And that's why I keep saying I really have to be careful though, because like I said in the beginning, I can easily fall back down this slippery slope. I am no better than anybody else. Just because I am on here saying, oh, I got this, I'm the best, I'm this, that, or the other. I know it's right here. It is right here and it can come back at any time. My binge eating disorder can really come back if I'm not diligent about living my life. If I start to focus on this, it can truly come back. I'm on a slippery slope, like I always say. So I think those are all the things right now that I'm just doing in my life. And I just want to share them with you guys because I do think that a lot of times people are just so doom and gloom about these things. And I do get, it's hard. It is so hard. It is so hard to overcome these things when you feel like your brain and your body and your family and your friends and the world is all against you and you can't go to therapy, you can't get medication, you don't ever see the light at the end of the tunnel, and sometimes you believe there is no light at the end of the tunnel. You think it's just a tunnel. And so I truly understand if you are in this period of just darkness and you're not in that point of being in the sun. And I truly felt like not only can I see the light at the end of the tunnel, I am feeling the light. The light is touching me right now. The light is on me. I can really see that I am almost out of this tunnel and I don't want to turn around and go back. So I really hope that all of my rambling made sense. I really want to continue the conversation down below. So if you want to comment where you guys are going through, I would just love to hear your story. Like I said, I will link all of my videos down below. I have a playlist devoted to my binge eating story, to my mental health journey, to being on Lexapro if you're interested in hearing about that. But you are under no obligation to watch those videos. As if you want more, you can go ahead and watch them. But yeah, I really hope that this was helpful to you guys. I'm really rooting for you all, and I really hope that this video was helpful in some way. Just because I think it's important just to share what, regular people are going through. I get that life is hard sometimes, and life freaking sucks a lot of the times. So yeah, I post new videos every single Wednesday, so I will be back next week with a new video. Once again, please leave a comment down below and make sure you subscribe if you want to. It does help out a small YouTube channel like mine. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.